Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be the long-awaited next episode of me reacting to your unpopular opinions. So without further ado, let's get started. So thank you so much to everybody who sent in one of your unpopular opinions. If you want to join in with a future video in this series, then make sure you're following me on Instagram because that's where I ask and put the shout out for unpopular opinions and Q&A questions and things like that. And I say it every time that I decide to do one of these videos. I'm never really expecting interesting new unpopular opinions because we've done so many of these videos now, but you guys always bring the new juicy opinions. So we have some amazing ones. So thank you so much. I'm going to get through as many as I can while I have space on my SD card. We did get a few that we have previously done in other episodes of this series. So laminated brows, we know you love them or you hate them, that's always in here. We've done that, we've covered that before. We've also covered people who don't like Natasha Denona, we've covered people who don't like Pat McGrath, and we've covered people who don't like Charlotte Tilbury. So those are, if you submitted an unpopular opinion along those lines and I haven't included it, that's why, because we did it in a previous video. That's the only reason I'm going to do as many as I can. Let's dive into it. We're starting off with Nikki D. I thought we were friends. And then you said this: I hate most Christmas food. Christmas pudding, turkey, the lot of it. Excuse me? This leads me to believe that you need to fire your chef. I am incredibly blessed with my Christmas dinner because my sister married a chef, a former Michelin starred chef, okay? Christmas dinner, not just Christmas dinner, I'm not being funny. This man rocks up and makes me a brunch, or he cooks like a sandwich. When we go on our whole family trips every year, he basically takes over the kitchen. No one's really allowed in there, and nor should we be trying. But he will just whip up like a lunch, and it's the same lunch that anyone else would have done, like, you know, a sandwich and some nibbles. It's wildly different at the same time. And our Christmas dinners are legendary. They're insane. He's already put out the call for which meats should we do. He does like 3 different meats, for goodness sake. And it's all insane. There's like a million dishes and every single one is chef's kiss. Literally. So I'm extremely blessed. But having said that, you know, my mum cooked our Christmas dinners every year until like the last 10 years that we have had the wonderful chef in our family. I always loved a Christmas dinner. I love everything about it. I even love Brussels sprouts. I know. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is bread pudding. I don't understand it and it doesn't go on my plate. Everything else, yes, I love it. And I will agree with you, I'm not a Christmas pudding girl. Like, I don't know if I need pudding at all on that day, to be honest. I've been eating from like 6 in the morning until I go to bed, so I could probably do without any kind of pudding, let's be honest. Tanya Pogo says, sale season does not mean you need to buy something. Hallelujah. Hurrah. Yes, Tanya. Yes, exactly. I'm always saying it. You don't have to shop a sale just because it's a sale, and definitely isn't cheaper to buy makeup you weren't going to buy or that you already skipped on just because it's slightly reduced in the sale. That's actually a false economy. I agree. I don't really shop sales, to be honest, because I have all the makeup like anyone could ever use up in 10 lifetimes. So they're not really that exciting to me. I can't really afford to wait for a sale on like new releases. I need to review and, you know, churn out the videos as soon as these products release fresh off hot off the press. So waiting for a sale is not really something like a beauty content creator can do. So I never really shop them either. I'm definitely not buying stuff just because it's reduced that I didn't want in the first place, you know. Organic Cindy says, I get a natural tan, not my face, and think some sun is good for you. I agree. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I don't know if it is an unpopular opinion that some sun is good for you, but I know I need sun on my skin. I know I need the vitamin D. I know that my body and my skin and my mind do better when I let the sun touch my bod occasionally. I totally agree with you. Nadia says, influencers not replying to comments on videos and not posting updates on products they use. So obviously her opinion didn't really fully fit in this box, but I did reach out to Nadia just to get her further thoughts on this because I thought it was a really interesting subject for us to chat about. So she basically expanded on this in a DM to me, just saying that she feels disappointed in YouTube makeup influencers that she's followed for years, and then some of them just do not reply to comments at all anymore since their channel grew. And she says she doesn't expect someone to reply to every single comment in every single video, but it feels like some just never reply, you know, never reply to messages, never reply to comments, never even, you know, like comments, and don't sort of update on products after that initial sort of first impressions or first initial review of products. So I think this is interesting. I vividly remember the point at which it became unfeasible for me to reply to every single comment that I get on my channel, and it was such a hard time to let go of that because I did that for years. I replied to every single comment on every single video that came up on my channel for years, and it was doable. It became obviously more and more work as my channel grew, but I got to a point where I was spending hours and hours, and I was on my phone replying to comments literally every minute of the day that I was awake. That's what I was having to do that, and it was really hard for me to let it go. But I got some incredible advice from my friend Mel. I mean, she gave me so much incredible advice over the years, but this little nugget was like the most valuable bit of information that she gave me with regards to YouTube, and that was reply to comments for the first 2 hours. So she gave me this advice when I was like having some trolling comments or just having some mean comments at a period with my channel, and that's what she said she sort of does and she sticks to, is that she replies to comments for the first 2 hours because one, that's when your sort of most like engaged subscribers are there. You know, it's those people who as soon as they see a video from you, they're clicking on it, watching it straight away and really engaging with the video, and therefore those are the people that you want to make sure you're replying to and that you're there as soon as the video is nice and fresh and new, and all of your subscribers who have like their notifications on are there after that sort of, and that's like a reasonable amount of comments as well. You know, everyone can reply to comments for an hour or so. We all have the power to do that, and you really don't get like mean, horrible people and trolls in that first little bit of time, because if they're not following you already, it's going to take them a while to find your video, and those people who aren't your people and don't like you and aren't subscribed to you, they're not clicking immediately, or mostly they're not clicking immediately on your video. That they rock up, you know, hours later or even days later. So that also stops you seeing a lot of the mean negative comments if you're not in your comment section after that initial sort of hot period when it gets the most views and the most traction and most of your subscribers are there. The trolls come later, so you do avoid seeing a lot of the negativity by just doing your comments for those first 2 hours. That's a really feasible amount of time to do comments for. I think everybody is different and everybody's situation and circumstances are different. You know, I have 2 young children. My videos go up at 6. So I actually, now what I've been doing is not replying until that 2-hour window is kind of up. My children have gone to bed. It takes me 10 minutes to reply to those comments, and then that's it. And like whatever comments have appeared in those first 2 hours of my video being up. I know the slight caveat of that is that I know I have some amazing Aussie subscribers who watch my videos as soon as they wake up, but obviously the time difference means that's not instantly, and I hate that because they're some of my most lovely, wonderful subscribers. But I think that's given me a really good balance, and I wish I could reply to every single comment, but obviously I can't. But I do try, and I do try on Instagram as well. I've been taking a long break from Instagram comments and DMs, but I am getting back into it, into the swing of things now. I also like to do my makeup dilemmas series, so if people have questions they want my advice and a help with, although I can't always reply to every single question or DM I get, that's an opportunity where I will answer as many questions as I can that people have and try to be really helpful. But yeah, I don't know, I can't answer for anybody else as to why someone wouldn't want to chat with their subscribers. I really miss it when I take breaks. I miss chatting with you guys, and I miss, you know, commenting back and forth and replying with you, and just having that rapport and that connection with you all. And so I don't know why someone wouldn't like and want to do that. And I see creators of all sizes. I saw, you know, Lisa Eldridge has millions of subscribers, and she still replies to a lot of comments, a lot of DMs, a lot of you know, YouTube comments. And I saw even like TikTok, I saw Paris Hilton replying to a load of comments the other day. I feel like everybody has the capacity to do it on some level, but there's also lots of valid reasons to not want to. And that is, you know, it's sometimes a horrible place to be, comment sections. You get a lot of negativity, and the more your channel grows, the more negativity comes with that, the more jealousy, but also just, it's a numbers game. You know, if you have 100 views on a video, you might get one horrible person. If you have 1,000 views, that's 10. If you have 10,000 views, that's 100, and it goes up. You know, the more views you get, the more percentage of meanies that comes with that. So I do think that that's a lot of the reason why larger channels stop replying and stop going in their comments, because it's just the amount of like hatred and meanness, and it's just not great for your mental health. So I think that's why that happens a lot of the time. I don't think it's like laziness or lack of care. I think for some people that's just a step they have to take to kind of protect their inner peace. Next up, Mrs. Mia 18 says, I hate Star Wars. Controversial. My father made me watch all the movies repeatedly growing up. So I have a confession. I've never seen a single one of them. I've never seen any Star Wars. So I don't know if that makes me better or worse of an unpopular person than you. I don't know whether it's better to have never seen them and I can claim ignorance. Maybe I will love them. I don't know, because I've never seen them, you know? But I think declaring it outright war on Star Wars, I mean, you're a brave lady. Okay, you're a brave lady. I think it's like a love or hate thing, isn't it? I love Game of Thrones. I love Harry Potter. I love Twilight, even the films that everybody literally rips the Mickey out of now. And I get it. I get it. So there was some questionable acting in there. But I love it all. And I understand a lot of people hate all of those things. But luckily for me, my daughter loves them all. And now we get to watch them and enjoy that and share that together. So I feel like that's probably what your dad was trying to do. And it's just horribly backfired. And I'm so sorry about it. I'm so sorry that happened to you, because it sounds painful. But luckily it didn't happen to me. The worst thing that happened to me was Antiques Roadshow that I got forced to watch every Sunday. So I can relate in some level. Lisa Pleasure, is that anywhere in the ballpark? I'm so sorry. I adore Pat McGrath for her mattes. Stunning formula, in my opinion. I mean, I get it. I get it. I understand that Pat is kind of known for her special shades, her shimmers, her sparkle, her glittery delights, but don't sleep on her matte formula. And I also think, I suspect highly, that her matte formula has been vastly wildly improved over the years. You know, I have Mothership 1, and there is a significant difference between the mattes in Mothership 1, which, dare I say it, were a little dry, in comparison to like her most recent mattes, which are stunning. I always used to like have Natasha Denona is my matte queen, Pat McGrath's my shimmer queen. Now they're both kind of level in both categories. Very, very different formulas, especially when it comes to the mattes, but I think Pat's mattes have really come a long way in the last few years. I agree, they're fantastic. Trinalyn says Chantecaille is for YouTubers and not us ordinary people. For a starter, you aren't an ordinary person, you're a delight and a treat. No such thing as ordinary, okay? You're a wonderful, glorious, unique, little, lovely ball of just squid you know? But why? Why do you feel that way? I don't know why you feel that way. I'm very much like I dip a toe in and out of Chantecaille, which is why I think I'm not on their PR list, like literally every single other YouTuber out there. I think it's because I'm a toe dipper. I don't love everything. I don't buy everything. Sometimes I feel like the products are just not for me, or they're not special enough to justify the price point. But I also have had some products that I've loved from them, like their blush highlight duos, their lip chic. Is that the correct name of them? I think so. I really liked their spring little eyeshadow quad. I think they have some great formulas, but I think it's for everybody. Is it the price point? Is that what you're meaning? Because obviously it's a very different thing if you're getting everything for free to actually having to put your own money down on something, and they are very expensive, those products. So if you don't really feel like they're worth the price tag, I totally understand it, but don't feel like they're like reserved for content creators, because they aren't, okay? And you can always get them in a sale, you know. Eagle.d_yev says, no skin prep, fixed sprays or powder can make makeup last all day. I'm so sorry, that is very annoying. I will say I cannot use any of that and my makeup will last all day. I think the thing is, one, skin type is so important, and it's so different as to how makeup is going to hold up depending on your skin type. If you're exceedingly oily or exceedingly dry, it's going to have a harder time than me, who my skin is quite balanced. My makeup doesn't have a tough job to wear very well. The second thing is environment, okay? You know, we have really mild weather here all year round. We never get super cold and never get super hot. It does get humid, but it's not as extreme as if you live like in Vegas or if you live in Alaska, you know? So again, weather, environment, conditions really can impact your makeup, as well as the amount of time. You know, I don't have particularly long periods of time where I want my makeup to look good. Typically I'll go on the school run, get home, get ready to work. I need my makeup to look good for like 4 or 5 hours. So my kind of full day doesn't need to be like a nurse's full day. You know what I'm saying? Working like a 14, 15-hour shift, not the same type of day. So I think that really plays into it, but I think skin type as well, how long your makeup lasts. I don't need to set my face with powder or setting spray. I do like to use primer, but not really for longevity purposes, more like an extra little oomph to the skin. So yeah, I don't know. I think for some people in certain environments, you're probably right that no amount of setting is ever going to make it look immaculate for like 9 hours. GMW Artist says, some of us still love watching makeup tutorials. I hear you, I do too. It's a real shame. You know, obviously I like to make content that I want to make, but I also want to make content that is popular with my audience, because ultimately this is who I'm making content for, you know? And if I was just sitting here making videos, I don't watch my own videos. So, you know, I don't need to like want to watch them or to be interested in the topic. I make my videos and I enjoy and am passionate and interested in the topic, but ultimately I make them with you guys in mind and with my subscribers in mind. And therefore, you know, we've spoken about perfume videos, makeup brush videos on my channel do not do well. So as much as I might, you know, feel like making a video on those and I like those topics and I'm interested in those topics, if I know my audience, like for the most part, the majority is not interested in it, I'm not going to make a lot of it, because well, otherwise what am I doing, you know? I don't want to annoy you guys, but I'm also conscious of like the sort of 5 or 10% of people who want those videos still. So I try to sort of, you know, tap a little makeup tutorial in there every now and then. But I'm not a teacher and I'm not a makeup artist. So I do prefer to do get ready with me's. I feel like I'm not really qualified to teach anyone anything about makeup, but I can show you how I do mine. That's kind of where the balance is for me. FC Chowders says, Haus Labs concealer does not have full coverage and is not as good as the Natasha Denona. My flabber is ghasted, because that is the highest coverage concealer I've ever used or tried. And I've literally tried like all of the full coverage concealers. It has wildly more coverage for me than the Natasha Denona, although, you know, I do like the Natasha Denona as well, so that's kind of a matter of personal preference, which you think is better. But that concealer is like as high coverage as it gets for me, so I'm confused as to what's happening here. Maybe it's a shade discrepancy, maybe like, you know, a different shade would give you fuller or less coverage depending on, you know, how it's colour correcting at the same time. But I don't know what's going on here, because that is like, wowie. It's like a magic little eraser under there for me. So I don't know what's going on here. Vote in the comment section down below. Do you guys think it's a high coverage concealer, or have I lost my marbles? Let me know. AS Moore 83 says, I find Beauty Blenders superior to every brush I've tried on foundation. It's so streaky. I mean, it's going to depend, I guess, on the foundation and on the brush. But you guys know I love my BK Beauty foundation brush. I love my Sonia G foundation brushes. I love my Rephr foundation brushes. And I don't find that they leave streaks. Occasionally the odd foundation will be streakier to apply, even with those brushes, but typically I really prefer a brush. I just find it quicker to get like the coverage, and I just enjoy the process more than like whacking myself in the face for like half an hour with a sponge. I also don't like eating all my product. I feel like I have to use so much with a sponge, particularly because I favour a glowier, thinner, like consistency foundation. So maybe that's a difference. I think if I had a full coverage matte foundation, I probably would prefer a sponge as well, because they're typically thicker and you're not going to lose as much to the sponge, and it's probably going to be easier to get like a nice even coverage quicker. So I guess it might depend on the foundation and your preferences with that, but I mean, that's fair enough. I just don't have it in me with the tapping. It feels exhausting. Anna says cream products layered with powder products is too many steps. I get it. Okay, I am a lazy girl too. The fewer steps, the better. And I don't see the point either, really. I mean, why are we doing cream and pick a horse, you know? You can't have it all. Stop being so greedy. Pick one. It's creams or powders. Stop doing both. Stop trying to make both happen. But I think like people who can just do that well, makeup artists particularly, Patrick Tar, for goodness sake, he's putting powder on and then going over the top with cream, and it looks better than anything I've ever done in my entire life. But I don't have his skills, let's be honest. And I also just don't have the energy, you know, like you said. Fewer steps, the better. Shayna says Zenon Palette is the same 3 shades repeated over and over. How dare you? I don't agree with this. I think it obviously is a very monochromatic eyeshadow colour story. There is obviously there's a lot of greys in there, but I don't really see any dupes. I think there's actually a lot of variation in there. I think our eyes are not used to seeing as much grey as this, especially not in an eyeshadow palette. It is a lot of grey, but I do feel like there's a lot of variance, whether it's finish, formula or colour. I think for like a palette, what is it, 15 shadows in there of grey, essentially? I feel like there's a lot more variation and difference between shades than in most Natasha Denona palettes. I feel like typically the last few Natasha Denona palettes have had at least 2 or 3 unnecessary shades that are pretty much repeats or almost dupes of each other. This one, I don't know that I found like that to be the case, but it's definitely a love or hate palette, isn't it? That is either like your dreams come true or your nightmare. There's no in between. Eleanor says Hourglass quads are difficult to manage with thick brushes. You can't cover all the brush. Do you mean, is that eyeshadow quads? I don't know what quads we're talking about here. Hamstrings or quads? Quads? Or do you mean the holiday palettes, the 6-pan ones? I'm not sure. But if you mean those, there are definitely some, especially when it comes to bronzer and powder, you have to be a little careful. I definitely like more strategically use like different bronzer brush than I usually would. If I'm using those palettes, my blush and highlight brushes fit in there beautifully. But yes, I do think bronzer is a little tricky with a larger brush, and you do need to use like a smaller brush in there, because I feel like ultimately they kind of started initially as being like a travel palette full of the brand's products that was a bit more portable, so it is a bit smaller, but I don't have any problems. I think it depends, I guess, just on the brushes you're using. Laura says, I do not want makeup items with skincare ingredients. I feel like I'm wasting my money. I get it. I don't really care if they're in there, but I don't acknowledge that they are. It's none of my business. It's nothing to do with me. If you're telling me there's hyaluronic acid in my foundation, I mean, okay, fine. It's not going to make contact with my skin. You know, I've got a whole skincare routine. I've got SPF, I've got primer, and then foundation. That's not going to hydrate me, okay? It's barely making contact with my face. Let alone when people start saying, oh, you know, it's packed full of plant extracts and it's got this in it, and then we're talking about, I mean, these days people have gone wild with it. There's like highlighters and blushes with like skincare ingredients in, and I'm like, guys, that's like 6 layers up. I don't think it's necessary, but I feel like it's become like a trend, hasn't it? Like, oh, we've got all these amazing skincare. No, we've already done skincare. We're finished with skincare. This is makeup. I totally agree. And I'm not 100% sure that it doesn't add like an issue as far as the longevity, like the expiry dates, if we're adding all the skincare ingredients in there and things like that. And maybe even longevity of wear, if we're putting, you know, oils and things in our makeup products. Stop it. We don't care. I don't think there's anyone who especially buys makeup for the skincare in there. Is there? Do you do that? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Laura also says, I cannot stand the smokiness in perfumes like By the Fireplace and Lune Feline. That's okay. You don't have to stand it. Everybody is different. And I feel like smoky notes, tobacco notes are very subjective. Not everybody likes them. Not everybody enjoys them. That's completely fine. You know, I think I don't like floral perfumes. And I know, like, as a woman, I'm expected to wear floral fragrances. That's what society thinks I should do. As a woman, it's like your options are a gourmand or a floral, and I say no, forget it, okay? I want to smell like tobacco and manliness. You know, I want to smell like tobacco, smokiness, amber, oud, woodsiness, and that is like traditionally for the men, but I don't care. Leave the saving of the world to the men? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's completely fine. Don't try to make yourself like something just because it's popular. Perfume is so individual and personal, and we all completely have different tastes and preferences, and you do you, you know. Magsy says, I prefer the company of animals over people. I mean, I don't blame you. There are some terrible people out there, but I've never met an animal that I don't like. Although I say that, there's a really rude, aggressive ostrich that I've come across multiple times when we go on safari, and I hate its guts. It's rude, it's mean. It like pecks on my windows, and it's aggressive, and it's got some kind of beef with me. I don't know what its problem is, but it hates me, and it comes straight and tries to break my car every time. So me and him, we've got beef, but every other animal has just been a treat and a delight. Whereas I've met a fair few number of humans that I'd rather not spend any more time with. So I don't know if I probably agree with you there. You just always know where you stand with animals, don't you? You know, they make it very clear if they like you, and like that ostrich, it's made it very clear that it doesn't like me. So at least I know that, and we can stay out of each other's way. Humans, who knows what's going on? Misa J3 Girl says, Amouage Guidance stinks. Sorry, I don't get it. I know fragrance is subjective. What am I missing? Now, I don't own this fragrance, so I had to look it up because I wanted to know, can I spot something, you know, that's problematic in the notes list? What are the reviews saying? And let me tell you, you're not alone. This was highly amusing for me. I was going through Fragrantica's reviews last night when I saw your unpopular opinion, and I think what's going on probably is the pear and hazelnut in the opening. That sounds like a slightly problematic combination to me. I can completely understand how that could go south for some people. So let me read a quick selection of some of the comments about this perfume to let you know you aren't the only one. The first review says, do not blind buy. If you do, drive yourself to the furthest wooded area with no service, spray it, and if you end up liking it, you've lots of miles to get away from it before reaching back home. That was the first one I came across. So that's not a good start. Second up, I can appreciate how complex and powerful it is, but damn, to my nose, I just get dirty, musty, sweet skin. I then had someone say that it took over an hour for that BO smell to fade. So I think the short version is here, your opinion is not unpopular. It seems like you aren't alone, and that a lot of people feel exactly the same way that you do. So that's probably comforting, and I thank you for the amusement that I had reading through those comments yesterday. Next up, Karen says, I think people are more authentically beautiful without makeup, but makeup is fun. I feel exactly the same way. I feel the same way. I always say, you know, makeup is for fun. It's like a hobby to me. It's something I really enjoy, but I don't feel like I need it to like make myself pretty, or that without it I feel less beautiful. I actually feel like my most beautiful when I am, you know, just relaxing and I do my skincare and I'm just feeling really confident. I feel like at my most, like you said, authentically beautiful and natural in my own skin. That makes me feel the most beautiful. And makeup is, I just love the process of it. I love applying makeup. It's so much fun. I'm always very cautious and careful whenever my children say, why do you like makeup? Why do you wear makeup, mummy? What's it for? I never ever will tell them, oh, it's to make me pretty, it makes me beautiful. I always say it's just fun. It's just for fun. I like to play with it. I enjoy putting makeup on and it's really fun for me. I would never tell my children it makes me prettier or more beautiful, or it makes anyone else prettier or more beautiful. I just think it is something that we love to play with and enhance things, and we can change up our look with it, and it's just a lot of fun. But I don't feel like I'm using it to hide myself or to improve myself in some way. I feel like it should just be something that gives you enjoyment and joy and happiness, and it's some self-care as well. But I totally agree. I feel like we are our most authentically beautiful when we are just beautiful in our own natural skin. Thistle Whiskey, love the name, says armadillos are the cutest animals and red pandas are a close second. Armadillo. I will say they are funny. I do love watching the little armadillo tickle around. I will say I do love watching an armadillo run. It's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I wouldn't mind having one running around my house, in fact. They are quite funny, but I don't know that they're the cutest. Like, I wouldn't want to cuddle it. You know, that's what I'm saying. If I'm going to say something's cute, I want to be able to cuddle it, and I would not want to pick that up, okay? That is questionable. Also, one time we were at the safari park and one was lying down like on its back, and it had an extra leg that was like the length of its entire body, that my daughter really loudly asked, why has that armadillo got 3 legs, mummy? And that was one of the most embarrassing days of my life, so be aware of that. Itinerant Islander, every time you send me a comment or a question, I love that name. It's delightful. Workplaces are not a family/friend group. You don't have to be friends with your colleagues. This is so interesting. I have had many jobs over the years. I've worked in pretty much like every arena, every type of office. I've worked in highly competitive sales office in the city. I've worked in retail. I've worked in restaurants. I've worked in the NHS. I've worked in sport. I've worked in social media where I have no colleagues. I would love one, because I have no friends and I talk to myself all day, every day. It's a little bit lonely and weird. And I will say that there are definitely sort of a range of like how close my relationships were with my colleagues, depending on those different offices. Some I have friends for life that you go through everything together, and your entire job, particularly talking about retail and restaurants, those people become your whole family that you spend 24 hours a day, every day with, having a lot of fun. And those we're absolutely friends for life, people I'm still in contact with years, decades later. Same thing goes for sport. Everybody who works in sport, usually 99% of us were athletes previously. We have a lot in common. We have a lot of shared experiences, and it's very much like a team thing, and you have a lot of socializing as well in that environment. So again, those people become friends for life and your sort of work family in and outside of the office. But I've also worked in very serious offices and like PA roles where I'm not making friends with my CEO. Okay, it's very serious. They're a very sort of non-personal relationship that's very professional, and there's real serious boundaries, and it just isn't the same vibe. So I feel like every office and work situation is different, but I absolutely agree that it also depends on you, because some people want to go to work, they want to get their work done, they don't want to talk, they want to head down and get on with it, and they don't want or need or benefit from working relationships and friendships. Me, I really do. I really love a friendly working environment where those people, really lift you up, and the whole job is, we spend so long at work. If you're working like a 9 to 5, you are spending far more time with those people than you get to with your own family. And therefore, I feel like in order for it to be as enjoyable of a way to pass like 90% of your life, it's great if those people are friends, and certainly that you have fun, enjoyable working relationships with, but I get that's not everybody, that's just me. It makes it more enjoyable for me, but that ship has sailed. Now literally it's just me in a room alone forever. Base Body Products says drugstore mascaras are the best. Estee Lauder, Tom Ford dry down so quickly and there's no difference. I will say I haven't tried the Estee Lauder mascaras. I used to believe this, like mascara was the very last makeup item that I sort of switched to higher end on. You know, it's the last thing that I sort of thought, oh, mascara, you know, what difference does it make? I was happy with my mascaras, but then I started trying higher end mascaras, and what I found, like my experience was that you can absolutely get great mascara effect from many drugstore mascaras. There are some great ones out there. My favorite used to be Maybelline Lash Sensational. That was a great mascara. I got super dramatic effect with it. It didn't smudge or anything like that, and I loved it for many years. But when I did make the switch over to higher end luxury mascaras, what I noticed the difference being is how long the mascara stayed good for. So I found like with my Lash Sensational, it literally was drying up in like 2 weeks of use, and I was like having to repurchase it every like 2 or 3 weeks. Whereas my favorite higher end mascaras, the Charlotte Tilbury, the Mac Stack, the Benefit Roller Lash, they stay excellent like from the first to the last use months later. The Charlotte Tilbury literally runs out before it dries up. It just lasts so much longer, and I feel like the price point of drugstore mascaras was getting more and more expensive, so that there wasn't even that much of a difference price wise between drugstore and the higher end mascaras that I liked. And yeah, I just definitely felt like I was having to repurchase them less frequently, and they were staying good. They didn't need to like wear in either, like I feel like a lot of drugstore mascaras do, but each to their own. Mrs. MacGyver says Ed Sheeran's music gives me a headache. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but no thank you. I think it's fair. I like Ed Sheeran. I'm not a huge fan. I don't think I own any of his albums. I've never seen him live, but there are a few songs that I'll sing along to in the car, that I'll have a bop to. I don't know if I would want to listen to it for hours on end. I feel like I'd go into a depressive coma. I can see the appeal. I think he's a great songwriter, but yeah, I agree. He's not massively for me either, but I wouldn't say he gives me a migraine. Okay, I won't go that far. Axis Shy, even in the ballpark, says, I like buying makeup for the packaging. Makeup is like packaging on a human anyway. I absolutely love that analogy. I love that. You're exactly right. Makeup is like bells and whistles. It's like the little cherry on top. It shouldn't be like our whole personality or us like, you know, hiding our natural beauty. I totally agree. Makeup is packaging on a human. I'm going to use that again. And honestly, I love packaging. I really love a luxurious, bougie bit of packaging. I love it. I always say to people who are trying to save money buying makeup, don't buy it just because the packaging is pretty, but there's nothing wrong with enjoying the packaging, and I feel like it really just adds to the self-care, joyful experience that I get from makeup. So I totally hear where you're coming from. If you're trying to save money, don't do it. But if you just want the joy and the bouginess and the luxury of some bougie packaging, nothing wrong with that. I feel the exact same way. Next up, Kim Dockery says cold weather beats warm weather any day. Controversial. Controversial. I don't know if I can say I agree or disagree here. I feel like there are some real pros and cons to like every temperature and every type of packaging. She's got lost. Weather. Every type of weather has its like lovely bits and it's not so lovely bits. I don't like to be cold, but I do love jumpers, and I do love hot water bottles, and I love heated blankets, and I love snow. I love getting our open fireplace going. I love roasting marshmallows. I love scarves and hats and gloves. So there's lots of stuff that I really love about cold weather, but I also love the sunshine. I love warm weather. Is there a spider on my head? It feels like there is. Okay, I can't see one, but I'm terrified. I love warm weather. I love the sun. I love the summer holidays when I get my kids every single day for like 7 weeks. It's my favourite time of year other than maybe Christmas. Again, you see how it goes. I don't really have like a standout season. I'm not like, you know, one of these obsessed with autumn people, and I'm also not like summer or nothing. I feel like there's pros and cons for every season, and I feel like that's an unpopular opinion. A lot of people have like their season, whereas for me, I like them all. I love them all. There's like goodness about each of them. And finally, kind of along a similar theme, Linda says, PSL is not it. Caramel apple is. So it took me a good 30 seconds to work out what PSL was. I'm pretty confident, if I do say so myself, that it's pumpkin spice latte, right? And I'm not really a pumpkin spice latte girl either. I've really tried to like it, but it's so sweet. I can't, okay? I can't do it. But caramel apple, what is it? It sounds incredible, and I definitely sound like I want to get on board with that. Is that at Starbucks? Where are we getting that? Where are we getting that from? Let me know. Okay, so there you have it. You didn't notice because I edited it out, but I actually had to like stop and recharge my battery. That's how long this video has been. My camera gave up on life. We managed to get through pretty much every single unpopular opinion you guys submitted that we haven't already done in a previous episode. So thank you so much for playing along. This has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to hear all of your thoughts on these unpopular opinions in the comment section down below. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.